This video is a film study look at Seahawks first-round pick Gray Zabel. I thought he put some good film out there in Thursday night's 23-23 tie against the Raiders. The Seahawks offensive line, I think, for having three of their potential starters out there, looked vastly improved. I feel like offensively under Clint Kubiak, these things look more repeatable. Less variance maybe in the play results, if you will. I thought Zabel showed quick feet, pretty good hand placement most of the time, a couple of exceptions. Seems to be able to adjust in the sense that he can play off his tracks. And what I mean by that is whatever his intended path, predetermined according to the play scheme and play design, whatever his path is, he can adjust off of that. If a defensive tackle or defensive end stunts inside or kind of steps to the outside, he seems to be a player because of his feet and his ability to stay low and within himself that he can adjust on his path. Look, in Baltimore, we've got at least one of our starting offensive linemen, maybe two, who can really only be supremely effective on their tracks. Zabel can be on his intended path and then adjust to a defensive tackle's stunt or movement, if you will, post-snap. I do want to see more of him working to the second level, to the linebacker level, giving the running back a downhill or cutback lane to get through. I'm not saying that he can't do that. I'm saying I want to see that occur in the preseason as we lead up to week one of the regular season and basically see the limits to which Clint Kubiak can ask Zabel and the other offensive linemen to operate. Let's get the film started here, and this is quite obviously his worst rep. It's a pass pro. It's a quick game concept, however, so I wonder if he's just trying to flatten and widen up a little bit. Unfortunately, becomes inactive with his feet, which is rare, and this is the only rep where you really see this at all. One thing I'll continue to talk about in this video is him getting his second and third foot in the ground so quick that he's really able to adapt, and he's really got a huge advantage with foot speed quickness compared to the defensive lineman he's going against, and in fact compared to some of the guys that are on Seattle's offensive line. Clearly he gets bowled over a little bit here, grabs to the outside with his inside arm. He wasn't anticipating this inside move perhaps, but in any case it didn't matter. It's a quick game concept. Sometimes offensive linemen are willing to kind of look bad on a quick game concept because they know the quarterback is going to get rid of the ball as soon as possible, and so it really doesn't matter in the context of the play if they, the offensive lineman, kind of accept a blow as long as the quarterback doesn't have anyone in his throwing lane at all. Moving on a little bit, let's talk about some run concepts. This is a D-tackle stunting across his face. It's a lead toss concept, so the fullback is going to motion out. So here's what I mean. The defensive tackle is illustrated by that blue line. He's going to kind of stunt to the inside. He's in a tight three technique here. We're slightly angled with our perspective, but I don't suspect that he's in a two. He doesn't look head up to me at all. But in any case, watch his steps, stunting to the inside. Zabel will adjust to it. Does begin to grab a little bit there with his right arm and then pin that defensive tackle down. Now, you may say, well, coach, this has nothing to do with the play. Well, that's partially true. And really, that's due to the fact that the force player here does a horrible job of keeping this thing contained or to the inside. Force is really the term that you want to use on a run concept. Contain is keeping the quarterback to the inside. Those things are not the same thing. It's a different technique, different skill. In this case, the take on of this tight end's block, he ends up to the inside, and the running back Kalani is able to veer to the outside pretty much unscathed. From a Zabel perspective, you see that the ability to redirect and reorient himself in the middle of the play when a player is off of the intended tracks that Zabel assumed, or was anticipating, I should say. Conceptually similar situation here. It's a shotgun run play by Halani, who just got 19 yards on the previous play. He's going to pick up 8 or 9 here. Defensive tackle in a three technique, so outside of Zabel. Once again, he's going to stunt to the inside. And I want to start to focus on the feet a little bit here. We'll play this back multiple times. And we're talking about getting that second and or third foot in the ground. We're going to compare him to some of the other guys on the Seahawks offensive line. Most notably Bradford here. Zabel's already got a foot in the ground. Bradford is still getting out of his stance. There's just a large difference between his feet. In fact, Bradford's outside foot, his right foot, is still in the air. And Zabel's already taken such short, choppy steps that he's got 1 and then 2. He's got a second foot down, and damn near getting his third foot down in the ground, third step down, before Bradford gets his second. There's just a wide difference between his ability to get his feet down and quickly his second or third step is important. Getting that down before the guy you're trying to block, and in this case, that absolutely is the case. Zabel's able to take the defensive tackle down. It is a stunt, don't get me wrong. So the defensive tackle and Max Crosby are both stunting or slanting to cross face intentionally because of Zabel's ability to stay balanced. He's just able to ride that guy down, take him out of there. Really nice awareness and adjustment by the center to go pick up a second level player. I think it's Devin White, but I could be wrong. So you've got a combo between Bradford and the center. Great eyes and awareness by the center. He understands that that defensive tackle him and Bradford initially engaged is out of the equation. Peels off, and just Halani with a really nice cut. That's a beautiful example, if you ask me, of offensive linemen, interior offensive linemen being savvy, smart, quick, especially with their feet in the case of Gray Zabel that we're focusing on. But this level of awareness by the center, pretty cool to see, especially in a preseason game against a lot of the Raiders starters. Like I said, that one ended up being like 8 or 9 yard gain. This is all end zone angle film, by the way, kind of intentionally. I'm going to limit this to, I think, 9 or perhaps 10 plays. 3rd and 2 here. Halani's going to go up the middle. This is the one that I considered maybe showing from the all-22 angle because there was just a drastic movement in the Raiders' defensive front. I mean, almost a hole created here, a crater-sized hole in terms of just gathering the first down, just gaining the first down. There's certainly a lot of congestion there, don't get me wrong, but what I'm talking about is from the all-22 angle, you see that the line of scrimmage is here, and just absolute caving in of the interior of the defensive front. One of the drawbacks, I should say, of constantly slanting or stunting is that sometimes you slant and you get taken down, especially in short yardage situations. But when we're talking about Zabel here, hand placement, I think he tries to adjust a little bit here outside the framework of number 9's body. And then I think he's trying to reorient his right hand, his inside hand. Keep in mind, it's a short yardage situation, right? This isn't 1st and 10. I think Zabel is just trying to situate his body for the run concept that's called and the dynamic of a 3rd and 2. So there's different reactions that you would like to see an offensive lineman take in an optimal situation. To me, Gray Zabel is constantly, at least in the small sample size we've got here, he's constantly doing things that are appropriate to the situation in terms of how he's trying to reorient his body, his hands or his feet, given the defender that he's trying to block. Hopefully I said that all in a way that makes sense. Moving forward a little bit here, this is the play action to the fullback, Oots, in the left flats. Really well-designed play that they tried to go to earlier. I'll pull this back in a moment after the design kind of kicks in here and you see the fullback. I think it's a 17 or an 18-yard gain. Well, we'll talk about the feet once again and compare Gray Zabel to some of the other guys. So not necessarily just Bradford, because sometimes things are different. Like, so, for example, Zabel is stepping out here to the tackle. Bradford is covered. So your steps are going to be different. So it's not a better than, but it's just a matter of how quickly you can get them in the ground. So because he's working out, Zabel's taking a bigger step with his right foot there, the second step. But compare it to the defensive lineman. He's still beating that guy to second step in the ground, third step in the ground. His feet are still in the air. And Zabel's already got his third foot in the ground or third step in the ground. 1, 2, 3. This guy's still trying to get his down. So he's being engaged while he's in the air. No bueno. In any case, nice design on the play. I'm a big fan of what Kubiak did. It'll probably be till Sunday before I can really get something out in depth on the offense. What was shown earlier, the design of things. I kind of tried to separate this early for a lot of reasons into a Manwari film, a Horton film, and then Zabel for a lot of reasons. Number one, they're rookies. I know you guys are interested. Number two, I'm interested to see what the Seahawks rookie class does, because I think there's almost 2 rookie classes here. There's the 5th and 6th round guys and beyond, and then the first 3 rounds, because there were so many picks there. I haven't even gotten to a Jalen Milroe video really at all. I'll probably delay that until after the second week. I do have some of his plays collected. So this is the interception thrown by Locke, intended to Horton on the left-hand side of our screen here. Locke is, really staring this down at the safety. The safety knows, that he's the target area. But Zabel kind of gets bowed back a little bit here, but anchors down well, if you ask me. Stepping out to the edge defender. I guess there's 2 edge defenders on the field here. Able to hold his ground. Really looks like a 4-on-3 from a pass pro perspective because the center is working to his side, but there'll definitely be times during the season when Zabel is left one-on-one. Certainly the center's not always going to be stepping to his side for whatever reason. That's the pass pro that the offense coordinator and then Drew Lock settled on just before the snap. Brilliant interception, don't get me wrong. I wonder, by the way, as an aside, I should say I did a Horton video on Saturday morning/afternoon if you're interested. I speculate on that particular route if he maybe was supposed to flatten it out a little more. I don't know. I don't get the chance to watch press conferences at all. I really don't have that much free time on my hands. So if you have any knowledge of that, feel free to let me know in the comments section. The 2nd and 7 here, and check out the hand placement, really ends the rep quickly. This is complete to Bobo, a little bit of a snag concept, somewhat similar to Horton earlier on. But see the punch by Zabel, along with the quick feet. He's really widening up here. Stepping to a defender who's on his outside shade. Bradford is stepping to a D tackle who's on his inside shade, but they're on the same side. They're over their left shoulder. Look how quickly the steps are by Zabel compared to Bradford. Bradford's 1, and then skips over, slides over. Zabel is 1, 2, 3. I mean, Bradford's still in the middle of skipping over. Both cleats are in the air briefly, and Zabel's already got his 3rd foot down. Remarkable foot speed, if you ask me, for an interior offensive lineman. Guards are going to be quicker a foot than tackles anyway, but Gray Zabel, I think, really is an extreme example of that. Really good hand placement on this particular rep, if you ask me. Staying square, kind of jumpy, if you will, in terms of the way that he engaged that defensive tackle. 3rd down here, this is the completion to Arroyo on a 3rd and 6, to be precise. Really a mug blitz kind of shown by the Raiders. You've got an inside linebacker walked up. This safety is also going to blitz. I think he's the guy that Arroyo's feet kind of get caught under. There's the path that Arroyo goes on. Stabbing hand placement by Zabel once again. Really destroys the rep. Watch how he widens that edge defender up. Now maybe it's possible the edge defender is trying to widen up so that this DB can fit underneath of it. That's also possible. I don't really get into pass rush win rate stuff because I think that sometimes things are so predetermined. Teams are trying to create a 2-on-1 on the back, and that's what's happened here. You have the inside linebacker and the safety, one of which is probably responsible for the running back in man coverage. But my point in mentioning pass rush win rate is that sometimes an edge defender, D tackle, takes a certain path and gets kind of ridden out a little bit because that's the way the particular stunt is designed. I still want to give credit for Zabel here. It's what happened on the play. He gets a nice stab, expands number 9 out. Arroyo trips over 1 or maybe 2 guys' feet. Locke finds him over the middle for a 10-yard gain to convert a 3rd and 6. Finally, the touchdown run by Halani on a 3rd and 1. It's a power concept, so power. Normally you'll have everybody on the front side blocking down. Occasionally you get some of this arc release stuff by guys out on the edge, but generally, they're blocking down as well. And so the fullback in that situation, a typical power play, is going to kick out an edge defender, and then you get a backside guard pulling and sealing, leading through the hole, if you will, for the tailback. 3rd and 1, the Raiders have condensed everybody down, expecting, maybe a QB sneak or something like that. There's Zabel stepping down violently, and then Bradford pulling to try to create or go off that wall that we're hoping to create right here. Fullback kicks out the edge defender, and then Halani's got nice quickness. He bounces it on a 3rd and 1, but you can see, it does kind of look like there's something there for him, but he sees the space, takes advantage of it, and I think this one got overturned for becoming to be ruled a 24-yard touchdown run. Bradford seems a little bit slower footwork to me than Zabel, but perhaps that's because Zabel stands out in that regard so much. I did think the offensive line looked improved in my own opinion. I would suggest to you checking out multiple content creators and or analysts to kind of confirm or deny what I have said in this video. I certainly wouldn't advocate for you to only rely on 2-digit numbers to assign quality of play to guys in such a dynamic game as we see on the football field. Basically, what I'm saying is don't rely on rating services for offensive line play, and certainly don't mean rely on me in 100%. I would advocate for allocating your time across multiple content creators and or analysts to try to get a full view of how these guys played. I don't really have any idea how others have evaluated Gray Zabel because my reach is so vast. I'm trying to cover the Ravens, Lions, and Seahawks as best I can. I don't get the time to look at other people's content, even Ravens content creators who I really enjoy communicating with and who I respect, and I hope they succeed as well. I just don't have time to do so. So from that standpoint, hopefully you can trust that the evaluation I'm giving you of Zabel is independent. It is my own, however flawed that may be. I think that he showed very particular strengths, and I'll give you a summary on a couple of them. I think that he's got really good decision making. Quick feet, I already covered, gets that 2nd and then 3rd foot down early. He can adapt or reorient during the play. That's huge. But his decision making during the play appears impeccable. The ability to convert things, either his hands or his feet, during the play, depending on what the defender's doing, that occurs because of your understanding of the concept. And to me, Zabel's reactions are always custom fit to whatever the play design or concept is. Hopefully I explain that in a way that makes sense. I think he puts himself in better position the longer that the play goes on. The only thing I didn't see, or at least didn't cover here, I should say, is him getting to the linebacker level. But he deals with stunts across his face well. That's very important because, defensive tackles are going to test your agility, your lateral movement skills, stunting inside as part of stunts or design blitzes. You saw that on the 24-yard touchdown run by Halani, that multiple guys were slamming down to try to take away the inside run. It was a good start for the offense as well, right? They're up 16-3 in the first half. They got some things done in the run game. Halani was a spark. I know Martinez did not produce, at least in a small sample size, but he's going to get more opportunities this preseason. I like their running back group a lot. I'm not one who thinks that you should only keep 3 and leave a 4th guy out there who's of value if they believe the Seahawks front office and coaching staff believe that all 4 guys have value. It's a 17-game season. Walker's had a lot of trouble staying available, and we would presume he's going to get a lot of work rate right here in the Clint Kubiak offense. I like all 4 of these guys, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what Halani or Martinez give you on special teams at all. I didn't look at special teams for the Seahawks-Raiders game at all. To use a phrase, to talk about Zabel, summary here, to use a phrase we talk about with outside linebackers or edge rushers, he looks like a guy who can get a draw when he's losing. So lose initially and then reorient to get a draw. Or win when it's a draw initially. So off the snap, perhaps neither he nor the D-tackle is winning, but then reorient his hands and or feet to win when he got a draw initially. If those analogies or those explanations don't make sense, my apologies for that. His quick feet sets up the guard position to be in a really nice place for a long time. I think the hand placement would be the thing that would maybe need to improve on, but it all depends on the D-tackle's alignment and then what his steps are. If you aren't aware, I've done some videos on Emanwari and Torrey Horton. Friday night for Emanwari, and then Saturday afternoon/morning for Horton. I'll link those up here as this video completes, so you can check them out if you wish. If you've ever thought of trying to figure out a way to support me, you can A, like the videos, and or B, grab a link to this one, share it out on social media so other Seahawks fans can enjoy it as well. That obviously would would lengthen or widen the reach of my content. Finally, if you would like to support me financially in any way, you can join a new Seahawks Discord that we have started. I think it's $4.50 a month. Basically, you can join a Discord that is a private community of only Seahawks fans. I think we now have 7 people in there at this point in time. You can communicate about Seahawks games, players, situations during the game, during the week. I have the app on my phone, and I'm there for constant communication with Seahawks fans, just like I do with Ravens and Lions fans. I'm serious about this. It's a lot of fun for me, and I really enjoy the feedback that I've gotten from Seattle Seahawks fans over the last year and a half, which is the reason why I'm trying to increase my output for you guys during the 2025 season. Appreciate you guys' time.